The situation involving the Denver Broncos in the AFC Championship game is complex and requires careful analysis. The team enters the field knowing it will have to deal with significant limitations, especially starting the game with a backup quarterback. In decisive games, this condition alone completely alters the planning. However, the degree of difficulty increases significantly when the opponent is the New England Patriots, an organization historically recognized for its detailed preparation and strategic use of inside information. Before moving on, take the opportunity to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment on what you think of this matchup. Public participation is essential to maintain a qualified debate and deepen discussions like this, especially at a crucial point in the NFL playoffs. In professional sports, unexpected results are part of the game. Teams have shown throughout history that it's possible to compete even when key players are absent. Still, each context is unique. In the specific case of the Broncos, the difficulty lies not only in using a backup quarterback, but in doing so against a team that knows the player who will be on the field intimately. The so-called element of surprise, usually associated with athletes with little recent playing time, is practically non-existent in this matchup. This factor is directly linked to Josh McDaniels' presence on the Patriots coaching staff. He closely followed Jarrett Stidham's development from the beginning of his professional career. Stidham was drafted by the franchise and spent years being prepared within the team's offensive system, participating daily in meetings, training sessions, and tactical adjustments under McDaniels' direct supervision. The relationship between the two didn't end when Stidham left New England. In his subsequent stint in the league, the quarterback returned to work with McDaniels in a different environment, further strengthening their mutual understanding. Those seasons were enough to map out playing patterns, preferences in reading the field, limitations under pressure, and responses to certain types of defensive coverage. In an elimination game, this type of information carries considerable weight. During weekly training, it's reasonable to assume that this knowledge is being shared with the rest of the coaching staff. Understanding what a quarterback does best, which concepts enhance their performance, and which situations tend to cause discomfort is a real strategic advantage. In postseason games where every possession is crucial, details like these can determine the course of the game. This analysis isn't limited to just McDaniels' direct experience. The organization as a whole has conducted in-depth studies on Stidham recently. During the roster evaluation period, the possibility of signing him was considered, involving coaches, analysts, and the scouting department. This reinforces that the volume of information available about the quarterback is extensive and up-to-date. The evaluation process adopted by the franchise has proven efficient. The meticulous approach in recent roster decisions has directly contributed to the team's current performance in the NFL playoffs. Within this context, the choice to follow a different path and bet on a different quarterback signals a clear technical assessment of the level of confidence placed in Stidham. None of this guarantees a result on the field. Football is not an exact science, and the final outcome always depends on execution. Even so, entering a decisive game with fewer unknowns than the opponent represents a significant advantage. This scenario helps explain why the match is seen internally as an additional challenge for Denver, even before the opening whistle. Alongside this discussion, the debate known as path talk has gained momentum in recent days, questioning the degree of difficulty of the path to the AFC Championship. This narrative, common in sports news, often ignores essential factors of the game. Titles are not remembered for the journey taken, but for the final result. There are no extra benefits for facing opponents considered more difficult, just as there are no penalties for circumstances beyond the team's control. Furthermore, the concept of an easy path disregards the dynamic nature of the league. Teams change throughout the season, evolve, lose players, and adjust strategies. Matchups that seem simple in theory can become extremely complex in practice, depending on the matchup's context and competitive moment. The data reinforces this interpretation. New England's offense faced highly skilled defenses throughout the NFL playoffs, all ranked among the best in the league by advanced metrics. In this scenario, Maye was exposed to significant challenges early in his postseason run, facing elite defenses while operating within an offensive system featuring new players and a young offensive line. Another factor that directly influences the balance of the game is NFL injuries, especially at this stage of the season. On the Patriots side, Carlton Davis' situation deserves attention. The defender has entered concussion protocol, which could impact the flexibility of the defense, particularly in man coverage packages. The absence of a player with this profile alters the defensive plan and requires immediate adjustments. From an offensive standpoint, Matt Collins' potential recovery is also relevant. He is eligible to return if cleared, and his presence would add an important option in midfield as well as contributing to the ground game. These medical and technical decisions are usually only made in the final days before a match. In the Broncos roster, the situation is also unstable. The definitive absence of the starting quarterback is already known, but there is expectation surrounding a possible return of J.K. Dobbins. If he is fit, he represents a significant reinforcement for the running game, the area in which he led the team throughout the season. On the other hand, the receiving corps is dealing with significant uncertainties, which could limit the offensive options available. Given so many factors, the AFC Championship presents itself as a match decided by preparation, squad depth, and adaptability. Defensive strategy, game reading, and leveraging internal information tend to weigh as heavily as individual talent on the field. The continuation of this analysis inevitably involves how the public consumes and interprets the discourse surrounding the AFC Championship. There's an external perception that the path to this point has been simple, but this interpretation ignores the real context of the matchups, the level of the defenses faced, and the specific circumstances of each game. The debate about path talk ends up being more noise than substance because it disregards the fact that in the NFL playoffs, there's no room for easy games. Each opponent represents a distinct test with its own risks and specific tactical demands. Looking at the recent performance of the New England Patriots offense, it's clear there was no comfortable environment. The defenses they faced are among the most efficient in the league, both in advanced metrics and traditional production. This demands precision, quick reading of the game, and discipline on every play. For Drake Maye, this environment meant dealing with constant pressure, reduced passing windows, and a permanent need for adjustments at the line of scrimmage. This context is relevant because it helps to dismantle the idea of ease. There is no title decided by narrative, but rather by execution. The history of the league shows that no one revisits, years later, the exact sequence of opponents faced. What remains is the final result. The excessive focus on the journey serves more to fuel debates than to explain what really happens on the field. Another central element of this game involves NFL injuries, which take on even greater importance in the decisive phase of the season. For the Patriots, Carlton Davis' situation remains a sensitive point. His entry into concussion protocol creates uncertainty regarding his availability and especially the defense's ability to maintain its multiple schemes. The absence of a defender with this profile limits coverage variations and can significantly alter the game plan. On offense, the possibility of Matt Collins' return also directly influences the offensive design. His use throughout the season has shown impact both in the intermediate passing game and in situations supporting the running game. In high-level matchups, the presence or absence of a reliable target can redefine quarterback calls and reads. On the other side, the Denver Broncos are dealing with an equally delicate scenario. The confirmed absence of their starting quarterback already alters the entire offensive dynamic, but the doubts don't end there. The possible return of J.K. Dobbins represents an important gain for the running game, a sector in which he was a central piece throughout the season. His presence could alleviate the pressure on the backup quarterback and help control the pace of the game. Conversely, the receiving corps faces significant uncertainties. Recent injuries raise questions about availability and physical condition, factors that limit the variety of offensive formations and concepts. Furthermore, the situation of center Luke Wattenberg, should he be cleared, reinforces an offensive line that is already considered one of the team's strengths. Small returns at this stage could have a disproportionate impact on collective performance. Within this context, the topic of insider intel becomes even more relevant. The knowledge Josh McDaniels has accumulated about Jarrett Stidham is not just a behind-the-scenes curiosity. It's practical information that influences defensive calls, coverage choices, and pre-snap adjustments. In elimination games, reducing variables is a clear competitive advantage, especially against a quarterback who has already been evaluated, coached, and observed in different contexts. This doesn't mean the outcome is predetermined. Football is still decided on the pitch, with execution, discipline, and the ability to respond under pressure. However, ignoring the weight of this history would be to disregard one of the pillars of strategic preparation. In an AFC championship, every detail counts, from reading a blitz to correctly executing a defensive adjustment. For the fans, what remains is the understanding that this match goes far beyond simplistic labels. It's not about an easy or difficult path, but about facing specific challenges at decisive moments. Defensive strategy, squad depth, injury management, and intelligent use of internal information form the true backdrop of this game. Ultimately, the AFC Championship pits two teams against each other, facing distinct yet equally real challenges. Whoever manages these factors best will have the advantage. And it is precisely this balance between preparation, context, and execution that defines the great postseason games. New England Patriots, Denver Broncos, AFC Championship, Jarrett Stidham, Josh McDaniels, Inside Intel, Path Talk, NFL Playoffs, NFL Injuries, Carlton Davis, J.K. Dobbins, Drake Maye, Elite Defenses, Defensive Strategy, Journalistic Analysis.